for the theme that I have running on my desktop. This is not doing a whole lot since I don't have a net connection, but this basically shows me the last thing that changed in Slackware Current, and it shows me the recent changes. It also could be looking a lot prettier. You can make these, you can have these be transparent. In fact, there should be some other Super Karamba themes out here. No. And again, I'm really not much of a coder, but I was able to throw together a Super Karamba theme very easily. Basically, it just parses a bunch of, it calls a bunch of basic shell scripting stuff, shell commands. You know, things like cut, things like grep. It calls links, very, very simple stuff. If you know a little bit about using a Unix machine, you could throw one together very trivially. I'm looking for which one of these looks really cool. Oh, this is kind of neat. Assuming it loads. One thing I will say about these Super Karamba themes, they are a lot more reliable in KDE than in Fluxbox. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to run one in Fluxbox. I basically am because I'm stubborn and it was easy to throw together. In KDE, they make a lot of sense. In other desktops, not quite as much. To explain what's going on kind of in the theme, you know, with a few more comments, basically this is just saying setting the background, telling us the size of the Karamba theme, setting the shadow, because it's got a shadow as well, what font to use, font size, color of the font. I mean, really fairly intuitive stuff. This prints the line. You see the very next line, Slackware Current, last change, Slackware Current, last change. It just prints that text, prints it in that color, prints it with a shadow. You know, pretty basic. Grabs the data last change, it just runs links, dumps out the Slackware changelog, which is a text file, and you know, grabs the top of it, and then prints that next line, recent changes. Grabs the names of the last 5 packages that are changed. Again, really basic, just command line scripting. Grabs that same file, grabs through it, and gives me the last 5 changes. And then the last thing that it does, it creates the ability for me to click on that, and if we were actually online, that would pull up. Yeah. It would pull up the whole change log in a little window there. Okay, there we go. And then you can see the little dock app on the left now pops up. I've got an IP, I've got a netmask, I've got a gateway, you know, all that good stuff. And then this thing is going to go ahead and try to grab that, and it's going to pop up in little red text with the last change and with the recent changes. Yeah, this is basically, it's calling, part of KDE is a thing called KDialog. And it's basically a really simple way to throw up a text box, or a few different kinds of boxes. In this case, KDialog text box. Throwing that up with the changelog that we've just grabbed, and telling it size 600 by 500. And again, this is probably not even the most optimal way to do a Super Karamba theme, but it works, and it was really easy. I'm calling stuff I already knew how to use. I'm calling shell commands. I'm calling a KDialog command. I didn't have to really know much about Super Karamba to do that. And that's one of the things I really liked about it. There's a screenshot of what it looks like when it's running. It's pretty much what you're looking at, except there's little red text with the last changes, date of the last change, and the last few packages that have changed. Yeah, it's trying to bring this up. So part of the point about that, and one of the things I like about this desktop, there's a lot of things like that you can do to improve your own experience. In my case, I didn't see anything that did what I wanted, which was, sit on my desktop and tell me when packages and Slackware changed. There we go. And it pops a little KDialog, Slackware change log. It was very, very trivial for me to just throw something together and, okay, well, now I know. If there's something it's similar that you want to do, it's very easy to make that happen. It's a very powerful thing about these tools. Yeah, so very simple. It's just a text file popping up. And that's pretty much it for the slides. Things I don't have on the slides there. This is my Fluxbox desktop. On my machine at home, I run KDE. KDE is really, 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 really themable, as opposed to Fluxbox, where I'm kind of, putting a few different small things together. I'm not going into as much detail on that because it's really, really intuitive. On that kdelook.org website, there are lists of, they separate things up. You have full desktop themes. You have just like mouse themes. Just wallpaper, things like that. There'll be tarballs that you download. You download those tarballs, and in KDE's desktop control panel, you just basically point and click, give it the path to that, and it will install that theme, and you can switch over to that theme. It'll change the look of everything on the desktop. One of the things that's really nice in KDE is a set of icons called Umicons. They're the most cracked out, weird icons you'll ever see. He has like robotic monkeys and panda bears and rolls of toilet paper, and it's really, really bizarre. Let's see if I have those on here. They're hands down the coolest looking thing I've ever found for Linux. Now these are kind of hard to see. There we go. These are Umicons. These are really, really cool. These are up on kdelook.org. And these are usable in other things. In this case, these are all PNGs. KDE is using PNGs. These will not work for the Fluxbox menu, but they'll work for anything that'll take a PNG. And they're very unique. A lot of these things don't match up with any particular application. He just felt like, well, loaf of bread. You should have a loaf of bread. I'm sure there's something you can do with that. I have no idea what this guy's thought process is, but there's an insane number of these, and a lot of them are just very, very strange. These combined with a nice theme off KDE Look will make your KDE desktop look a lot better than the defaults with the kind of boring wallpaper, and I believe they use the crystal icons by default. These are much better. I think that covers most of what I can think of as far as what I had in mind to discuss. I'm sure there are questions. Anyone? Gal?
Can you do animated backgrounds for your wallpaper?
KDE supports some animated backgrounds. As I don't know of any way to do it in Fluxbox trivially. If there's probably a tool somebody's written that does it. KDE can do the same kind of stuff like you can do in Windows, where you can have like internet content. It's basically they've implemented their own version of Active Desktop. You can have content off the internet in there. I believe it'll pull in TV channels. Oh, the other cool thing you can do in KDE's desktop, it doesn't just, you can take any arbitrary static wallpaper and throw it up there, but you can apply things on top of that. For example, let's say I want a gradient, so the left-hand side of my screen is a little lighter and the right-hand screen is a little darker, and I can actually have a KDE throw a gradient on top of my background and do that so that maybe something that I run on the right hand of the screen is a little more visible just in that area, rather than actually have to take it into the GIMP and edit it and have that image hard set to being, you know, however you thought you wanted it right that minute. KDE just does it on the fly. And it has a lot of little options to do gradients, to apply different colors on top of the wallpaper that's there. Lots of really cool stuff. David?
I can't remember. I don't know if it was somebody that was running this on a Mac or not, but they had a camera that was built into their machine, and they basically would point the camera in the opposite direction of their screen, and that would actually form the background, and it would actually move.
Oh.
If people walk behind it, I mean, you'd basically be looking at the screen and seeing what's behind it.
Did you see a video of this or a photograph of this?
It was a video.
Okay, because there's a photograph trick that does that I'm thinking of. A video I haven't seen. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's actually like a live desktop. I can't remember where it was.
Because what
San Francisco.
Okay, because what a lot of people have done posting on the internet and claiming to be something like that is they take their digital camera and they take a picture of what's behind their laptop and make that their desktop, and even go to the lengths of, you know, they've got cables and things that are around it, lining things up. So basically, they take a picture of what's behind it, make it their desktop, and then take a picture from over here of the whole thing, so it looks like you're seeing right through it. It sounds like what you're talking about is taking a camera and doing the same thing, except having it actually be live and
Actually,
cool.
Yeah, live. It would, you know, there's a little bit of delay, but it looked like pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Does sound pretty cool.
Kind of wow. I mean, we're a little bit ways off from actually having screens that don't have a physical mass or laser based or something like that. But that was kind of the next coolest thing.
That'd be a cool way to give yourself an office window.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, if you're running live video as your desktop, 24 hours a day, that's probably about the least efficient thing you could do as far as productivity, but it looks cool. So that's,
well, most of this stuff isn't about efficiency. It's about
right.
Looking good.
Exactly. And I mean, there's the desktop I'm running here is fairly bare, but still, I think, looking decent. Everything I run in KDE tends to be much more on the stupidly bloated side. I'll sometimes run a half dozen different Super Karamba themes that are all over the desktop, and I run dual monitors, so the right monitor might be almost entirely Super Karamba themes underneath. It's really kind of silly, but people come over and they look like, wow, that looks really cool. And okay, my job was done then. Anyone else?
What's the best? I mean, I'm a text guy. I hate GUIs totally. I mean, my world, I exist in probably about 50 tab windows inside of an Xterm or in terms of secure CRT on Windows. And that's kind of how my world exists. But as far as one of the things I used to like about KDE when I was running KDE, this was many years back, was the ability to do so many different keyboard commands. I mean, I hate mice. I don't want to use a mouse or actually a window manager. Window managers for me get in the way. But actually having, what's the best desktop out there that has really good keyboard navigation? Screen.
There's a couple that are designed to not. Rat Poison is one. Rat Poison is a really, really basic screen manager or a window manager that is designed to have everything done through keyboard shortcuts. There's a couple other basic ones like TWM and I think PWM are also really basic in that regard, but Rat Poison I think is the hands down most keyboard centric window manager in that regard.
Rat Poison's like one step up from screen. You can't really get any more like basic.
It's not that different from screen, really, when you're running, split screens and everything. It's just you can view images if you need to.
Embedded into tab browsing works. It's just awesome for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
You reminded me of something too that I forgot to mention. Console does tabs really nicely when you have a lot of terminals. What a lot of people don't know in Fluxbox, and you can do this with any window that you've got in Fluxbox, you can do this with. I tend to just do it with the terminals. You can take your two terminals. If you middle click on the title here, you see I'm just dragging the title around now. I drop that into here. I now have both of these basically tabbed. What I can also do, I've got Conquer over here.